Now, in terms of project management, will you say that as an estate surveyor and valuer, I automatically have the skill and the expertise to be a project manager?
In the early days, the guy who started the development process naturally becomes the project manager. Naturally. You know the reason? He usually finds the finance for the development. Okay, he sources the funding for the development. And once you source fund for a project, automatically you are qualified to be the project manager.
Okay.
But the relationship between the developer and the banks has changed over the years. In the 80s, we used to have two-stage financing system. We used to have the banks that provide what we call bridging loan. And then the insurance companies provided the long-term finance. So, exactly. The long-term, we had very strong insurance companies then. They were not highly capitalized, but they were very strong.
Yeah.
There is no single insurance company now that is even doing long-term finance. Okay. The second reason is that interest rates have gone up very high. So they cannot sustain long-term borrowing. They don't know what the future will be and so on. Bridging finance depends on that structure. Yeah. So it was easy then to sit down with bank MDs and so on to arrange loan financing on behalf of your clients. All right. I remember one project I did for one Mr. Famu Ipo. He was a manager in Bicham then. He owned a property on Lewis Street. And I took it from scratch. I was just in Knife Frank Karoti, designed, funded, and constructed it for him, an 8-story building, and did it for him without him putting one kobo in. Okay, it was possible in those days, but this nowadays is not easy. If you've done any development in recent times, you know that the banks demand off-taker from you.
Yes.
Off-taker agreement.
Most of them even demand that they appoint the project manager.
Oh, so over the years, because finance has been divorced from the development process, the client who is now bringing the money dictates who does the project management. And a group of people have over the years again taken over that role of project manager. Quantity surveyors feel that they are more qualified to be project management. But there is no project management is three functions: quality control, cost control, and time. There is nobody that most people, even I had a lady in UPDC that studied philosophy and was a project manager. You don't have to be an estate surveyor to do it. It's just having an orderly mind. That's all. Orderly mind. You have an orderly mind. You draw up a program and follow it, or somebody draws a program and you follow the program.
Yeah, but let me take you back to the aspect, in Europe in the last 25 years. The aspect of project management has now been expanded to include the financial, the financial aspect of the project. In terms of, for instance, you have a project, you already have the budgets, but you know that in projects generally, when you have contracts awarded, you have what we call prime costs and prime component, and the prime cost, the PS and the PC items are going to be determined when the project is already ongoing. And in that, the possibility is there that you may get to the stage where the prime costs or prime sums are now being, planned for and to be awarded. And the cost of it may actually throw your original, financial equation into disarray and probably make the project not to be viable. So, project manager, on that project, because in Europe that is actually this thing that how we need to get somebody who has the understanding, the skill, the knowledge, at least of the basic, process, and at the same time able to manage that aspect, so that when there is an issue like that, he's able to resolve it based on his profession, and then he's also able to ensure that issue does not completely throw the project out of.
That is the second aspect of.
Yeah, but if you have a philosophy person,
no, what I'm saying,
doing project management,
what I'm saying, the second aspect of the project management, the second role is the cost control.
No, cost control, and then yes, cost control.
So this is, and
but
that's
the cost control with an eye on the value.
With an eye, no,
on
wait,
with an eye on the value, because what the analysis I just made now is that you have a project, say it was going to cost 10 billion naira, and then because when you do your viability analysis, like you said, you have the cost, and then you also have the GDV, which is the gross development value. Now, your gross development value, will have to, that you don't have control over.
It's not fixed either.
It's not fixed either,
not
but
fixed.
You don't have. I think you have more control over your cost
yes.
than that one.
True.
Now, suddenly, a project that that was supposed to cost 10 billion naira with a GDV value of 15 billion, it's still viable. Now, you suddenly have a situation where an aspect or some aspects of PC and PES items suddenly makes it to be $14 billion naira.
What you do then is to start looking for alternatives.
Alternatives in terms of what?
Let me give you an example.
No, you have already started the project.
It doesn't matter, yeah. Let me give you an example. You started this building.
Yes.
That you're going to do central AC.
Yes.
It was viable at that stage.
Good. Yes. Yes.
It was viable at that stage. 2 years later, dollar value has changed. AC is now going to cost 3 times what it is.
Yeah.
You dump it and put window units. Simple.
Yeah, but
wait.
Okay.
I'm just giving you a ridiculous example, but that is what you do every day in all projects.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to look for alternatives. You have to be juggling alternatives, and you don't have to be a technical person to juggle alternatives. Okay, you have to start looking for alternatives. How do I reduce this cost? Okay, so it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. You just have to look for alternatives to bring your project back online.
Okay. Yeah, but I agree with you. I'm just looking at professionalization of.
You see, generally speaking, every profession, there is no profession now that has a monopoly of any knowledge.
Exactly.
What is important is you as a person, how much of that knowledge you have gathered for yourself.
You see,
that is it.
You see, 2 weeks ago, I was a guest lecturer at the Bells University, and the topic was actually about interprofessional relationship, and the challenges in the development process. And exactly what you said was what I said. That look, no profession can actually claim monopoly of project management.
No.
But the point actually is that every profession, whether you're a QS, you're an estate surveyor and valuer, you are an architect, you can actually, or engineer, you can actually claim to be project manager. But the point actually is the strength of individual training, and the fact that an estate surveyor and valuer has an edge in terms of the fact that they are into the economics, and are able to actually look, have an eye on the value, the gross exit value.
Yeah.
That places them, above everybody else.
Yeah.
But the point is that we must actually, take advantage of that. It's not enough for us to say, I'm an estate surveyor and valuer, so I should be the project manager. No. You see, so I think we're actually...
you cannot impose yourself
no,
on anybody now. You just have to demonstrate your competence in every field. Yeah. It's very important. It's the other area where you have to be strong if you want to do property development is that your finance has to be strong. Okay. You have to be able to read financial reports. Right, you have to know the economics of borrowing, all those lending, what's the formula for calculating many things. You just have to. It's a body of several knowledge that you have to gather together.
Good. Thank you very much. I think it's been a wonderful time. We thank you for your time, and I think you have enriched the knowledge of our viewers. Yes, we have been talking to estate surveyor and valuer engineer Stephen Mayaki. He's actually afforded us, the opportunity of benefiting from his wealth of knowledge. And I want to thank you again for coming on this program. So, property development, project management, these are veritable, areas of professional service that estate surveyors and valuers should actually be serious about and explore. This is where we draw the curtain on this week's edition of Victor Alonge on Real Estate. Until I come your way next week, please continue to keep safe. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.